I mean, it's just, if I pulled up the profile of cheater, con man, clown, and coward,
results,
your face would be next to it. Now, you sitting up here with your wife standing next to you.
She's my 7th wife, Your Honor. Things that's been said in here, all of it's not true.
She actually sent between 5 and 7 nude pictures of herself to an ex. I went through her phone and I seen she was talking.
We weren't together.
I called this guy off my phone and he didn't want to talk to me at all. And you know what, I'm at the point in the relationship where I'm like, you know what, I really want to know what's going on. So I sent him $100 cash for him to tell me, just tell me what's going on with you and my girlfriend.
This case is a full-on disaster from the start. Judge Lake introduces Streeter v. Hartfield, where Ms. Streeter says Mr. Hartfield tricked her into having his baby while hiding the fact that he was married. He denies being the father and blames other men, but everyone can already tell this is going to be a mess.
You claim that during your relationship with the defendant, he convinced you to get pregnant with his child, but what you didn't know is that he was a married man.
Yes, Your Honor.
You say Mr. Hartfield is only denying the child in order to save his marriage. You say you made a mistake by having an affair, but you know you are not father of Ms. Streeter's child. You claim that Ms. Streeter was openly sleeping with other men besides you.
Ms. Streeter says the baby was planned, and they even tracked ovulation to make it happen. Mr. Hartfield says that's a whole lot of lies and acts like he barely knows her. Someone is definitely lying, and it's not looking good for him.
We went to hospital and we got the birth control taken out together.
She's telling you guys a bunch of lies. A whole lot of lies. That's convincing. That's definitely not the truth. We went in and took a birth control out together. That's definitely not true.
We planned this child, and when we even planned the day, you know, I had an app on my phone that tracked my ovulation, and we knew what we was doing when we was having sex.
Ms. Streeter finds out he's married the old-fashioned way, Facebook stalking. She sees happy pictures of him and his wife, but he tells her those are old, like that actually means anything. She calls his wife anyway, and now the truth is out.
He had ended up telling me a relative's name, and I had went on Facebook and found the relative, then found Mrs. Hartfield's page, and that's when I seen pictures of them. And I didn't even call her right away because he had told me, like, them pictures are old, she's professional, and for her image. Matter of fact, I didn't even call her, I text her and let her know, like, your husband's been treating on you for 8 months and I'm 5 months pregnant. This never happened, but he just texted me just recently.
Ms. Streeter brings receipts, text from Mr. Hartfield saying, "I'm horny, come over." He tries to deny it, then admits it, then says they were playing a game. Judge Lake looks like she needs a vacation after hearing that nonsense.
He texted me earlier this week.
This is a text that says, no, and then I'm horny, and then come over. And the next line says, I'm serious, I am horny as hell.
That is true. I did send those messages.
Oh, you did?
Yes, I did. Hold on, let me explain to you why. Because of this game that she and I like to play, that she likes to play.
Now, Mr. Hartfield says he only texted her because she threatened to call his wife. He even claims she was blackmailing him over a stolen car. The excuses just keep getting dumber, and the judge is over it.
Your Honor, I am dealing with a 22-year-old. It's because I didn't do things for her from the extortion that she's been doing to me that she was gonna call my wife. That time she did. Next time, she said she was gonna report that I stole her car. So I'm in a situation where I either get locked up if I don't play her little childish game.
Entertain her, you pacify her with flirtation.
Mrs. Hartfield finds out about the affair through a random text from Ms. Streeter. She confronts her husband, and he hits her with, "She ain't nobody." She decides right then and there that she's done with this nonsense.
The text message that I received from her.
You get a text message.
I'm in a relationship with your husband and have been for 8 months, and I'm pregnant. And that's it. Bleepity bleep is going on here. And I asked him about it, and he said, oh, she's just some little girl. She ain't nobody. I didn't like texting, so I called her. We had a conversation to which I told her, best of luck.
Ms. Streeter says Mr. Hartfield was excited at the hospital and signed the birth certificate, but then, at the last second, he freaked out and had his name removed. The evidence is right there, but he still tries to talk his way out of it.
He was there when the baby was born. You know, that's my baby, that's my boy. I never got to see none of my kids. He needs to be in the house with both parents.
Were you telling her these things, Mr. Hartfield?
I tried to get him to sign the birth certificate. The reason why, he signed it at first, but it was time for the witness to see us, and he like, you too anxious about me signing this birth certificate. You know what, miss, take my name off, talking to the witness. Like,
Mr. Hartfield says she told another man he was the dad too. Ms. Streeter calls him a liar, and honestly, at this point, we all believe her. The judge looks 2 seconds away from throwing her gavel.
What do you mean? You say you're not the only man?
There's a guy in our local town that she's also told him that he was the father, and she promised to give him some more loving once she had the child.
For me, I feel like it's an iffy thing with him. If I don't want to be with him, he don't want to be with the baby. But it's times when I have to come over and kiss the baby.
That is absolutely crazy nuts what she's saying.
Turns out Mr. Hartfield had a whole secret apartment that his wife didn't know about. Ms. Streeter found out first, and dropped that bomb right on his wife. The pictures of him hanging out with the baby at this secret hideout just make it worse.
I never had a
Ms.
relationship with
Hartfield,
her.
you felt like he was living with you when he was sleeping with her.
Yes.
And you didn't know about this other place.
I did not know about the other place when she told me.
I have pictures of
He
him and my
took
son
pictures,
spending
yes.
time together. Spend times with my son when he claimed.
Is this at the other place?
Yeah.
And this is
that's
baby
me.
Caleb
That's right. I
together.
did that last week, actually.
Judge Lake has had enough and calls him a cheater, con man, clown, and coward. The audience claps because she's saying what we're all thinking. But now, the moment we've all been waiting for, DNA results.
I mean, it's just, if I pulled up the profile of cheater, con man, clown, and coward,
Results.
your face would be next to it. Now, you sitting up here with your wife standing next to you.
She's my 7th wife, Your Honor. Things that's been said in here, all of it's not true.
The results are in, and guess what?
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Hartfield, you are the father.
This whole mess is about to be a roller coaster. Miss Whalen says Mr. LeBlanc, a married man, is the dad of her son, Vincent. His wife says if the DNA test proves it, she's out.
Ms. Whalen, you admit you've been in a sexual relationship with Mr. LeBlanc, a married man, and claim he is the father of your 2-year-old son, Vincent Whalen. You are determined to prove that you are not the father of Miss Whalen's son in hopes of saving your marriage.
Yes, Your Honor.
This man acted like science was lying to him. Miss Whalen took multiple pregnancy tests, and he still sat there like, no way. Meanwhile, his wife had no clue a text was about to ruin her day.
Back when I was pregnant, he was staying in my house. It was one night I was telling him that I might be pregnant because I hadn't started my menstruation, so he went out and got some pregnancy tests, asked me to take them. He sat on side my bed holding his head. When I took the first one, I gave it to him and it showed that I was pregnant, and he still sat there and said, oh man, this can't be true. You can't be pregnant. And it was only because he didn't know how he was gonna go back and tell his wife that I was pregnant.
Imagine getting a text saying, I can't believe I did this again. No phone call, no explanation, just a casual message about a whole other baby. And that little word again? Oh, it's about to cause chaos.
I found out about Vincent through a text message through my husband. No phone call.
A phone call's not even good enough
I
for
need
that.
to see you face to face. None of that. It was through a text message. The text message stated, I can't believe I did this to you again. Again.
The word I'm hearing is again.
Right, again.
Turns out Vincent isn't even Mr. LeBlanc's first secret baby. He already has another child, Jaden, from a previous affair. The judge and Mrs. LeBlanc are both officially done with him.
Prior to Vincent, there was Jaden.
Who's the mother of that child?
I am. That's my 3-year-old.
Unfortunately, yes, sir.
To make the exact same mistake again?
And that's, Your Honor, why I didn't want, at that time, when she was telling me about Vincent, her being pregnant with Vincent.
The judge shuts everyone down real fast. She says both women are letting this man run back and forth like a lost puppy. And just when you think it can't get worse, he pulls out another excuse.
None of you all gonna come out looking any better than the other one. It's a mess. And it's babies coming into the world and a daddy going back and forth between houses. I'm just trying to figure, I'm like watching a tennis match. I got a married man bouncing back and forth between his mistress and his wife. You all letting them, then you all wanna come into court and downgrade one another. Come on, man.
Now he says he heard rumors that Miss Whalen was sleeping with a neighbor. A guy in a pickup truck apparently hinted at it, and somehow that's his proof. The judge is not buying any of it.
There was rumors, Your Honor, going around that Miss Whalen had slept with the neighbor. I was confronted at one time. A guy pulled up on me in a pickup truck. He was like, oh, you know who I am? I was like, nah, who are you? There was rumors going around that she had slept with this guy.
We're here to offer proof that is relevant.
Grandma gets up and immediately calls her granddaughter a sneaky little hoe. The judge tries to calm things down, but it's full-on reality TV drama at this point. Even the audience can't believe what they're hearing.
Well, if she come out, Mr. LeBlanc's not the father, then I just know my granddaughter was a sneaky little hoe that bypassed me, and I didn't catch that. But I honestly don't believe that. See, whores sleep around. Whores leave their husband and go sleep with other men and let him go sleep with other women and then want to get back. That's what whores do.
Hold on.
No whore right here.
This man really stands there and says, I love my wife. The audience is so over him, and the judge just shakes her head. Sir, your wife is done. Read the room.
I love my wife, Your Honor. I want to be with my wife. But at the same time, my wife, it's a struggle because it's hard to try to be with my wife knowing there's a possibility that these other kids are mine. And my wife trying to have a move forward in our marriage, it's hard for her to accept, bringing other kids into the household that's outside our marriage.
Exactly. That's why you ain't had no business doing it.
The results are in, and surprise, surprise.
It has been determined by this court. Mr. LeBlanc, you are the father.
This part is wild from the start. Miss Phillips sues Mr. Gibbies for $1,000, claiming he's not helping with their baby. She says he's 100% the dad and wants a test to prove it, but Mr. Gibbies isn't buying it. He says she's been with too many other guys and isn't his problem.
You are suing your ex-boyfriend for $1,000 in childcare expenses you claim he has ignored since denying that he is the father of your 2-month-old daughter, Jordan, whom he refuses to meet. Today, you have petitioned the court for a paternity test to prove he is the father and are looking to recover your $1,000 childcare expenses.
This breakup sounds straight out of a soap opera. Phillips thought Gibbies was the one, but after some spiritual event, he suddenly said, "I gotta work on myself." Then, in the middle of the night, he drove her to a hotel and left her there. She was confused, like she got kicked off a reality show. But wait, there's a holiday party story coming up that's even crazier.
I thought it was gonna be the best situation. I thought that actually the one for me. I think it started for me when, he went to this spiritual convention and he came home that night. He was just like, "You gotta go."
Then he goes to a spiritual convention.
Yes.
And comes home and tells you to get out.
Yeah, he told me he had to go because he was working on himself, whatever. So I was like, well, it's late.
Things get messy, fast. Gibbies goes to Miami, and while he's gone, he hears Phillips was partying too hard. She denies it at first, but later admits she cheated. Gibbies is crushed but stays in the relationship. But don't blink, because up next, car drama and a shocking confession.
2 days later, I get a call from a mutual friend that says she was involved in an event.
I called you and told you.
My mutual friend told me first. They left and went to a party where I know what type of girl she is. She's a very promiscuous girl, put it like that herself, because she's seen her.
I got right in the car and I seen her. I even said hey to me. In that situation, yes, I was.
Originally, she told me that was her brother's.
This story has more twists than a curly fry. Gibbies' friend admits he hooked up with Phillips and had to hide when Gibbies showed up. She says they weren't together then, but she fires back, finding condom wrappers in his bag after Miami. And next, texts, jail time, and trust issues galore.
That's when the black car pulls up. He said, "Yeah, she told me to go ahead and let's get out because it's my boyfriend, he's crazy." I said, "Did the black car look like this one?" And he was like,
"Yeah, that was a friend of mine. We weren't even together."
And he
I did have
explained in
sex with him
detail.
now, and I felt bad about it. I told him I felt bad. I should never did that. I didn't even feel good about it at all. The bag that he took to Miami, I see condoms in the open, and they open and one missing.
This is the he said, she said Olympics, and nobody's winning. Phillips says she was loyal, but Gibbies says she lies about where she goes. Then he drops a bomb. While he was in jail for 2 months, he found flirty texts from other guys in her phone. And just when it couldn't get worse, boom, married man alert.
A lot of times, because there's been times that we actually did things together, which I understand, because if you cheat once, then you think he's gonna think you always cheating. But then that's why I kept myself around him.
There was
so
times,
he wouldn't think that something was wrong. And that's what I did. I even had problems with my people. My grandmother was getting mad because I always was running over there to him.
This one had everyone shook. Phillips says Gibbies told her he was separated, but he was still legally married. Judge Lake sets him straight. You're still married till the papers say otherwise. And just when you think that's the biggest twist, the next confession takes things up a notch.
When I first met him, whatever, and we was getting into our relationship, he told me that he had been married before.
My wife at the time was living in Mississippi. We had been legally separated for almost 2 years.
A man is married until he is divorced. But at some point you found out.
Yes.
2 weeks later, but you continue. 3 years, we 4 years now.
Yes, I did, because by then I felt like I was stuck. I was young and I felt like I was stuck.
This part is sad and confusing. Phillips moved 800 miles away while pregnant, and Gibbies missed everything. Doctor visits, the birth, all of it. He felt left out and doubted the baby was his. Phillips says she just wanted to escape the drama. But now, Gibbies' sister is stepping in with her own take.
Who gets pregnant by a man that you claim is pregnant by? You go and take off 800 miles away. You go to Tampa. You down there. You done left me up here high and dry. You're not worried about me. I'm calling. I'm trying to maintain a long distance relationship. I'm not there during the pregnancy of this child. I'm in the labor of this child. But even still, when she came back for her birthday, I took her out.
Gibbies' sister Raven comes in with some strong opinions. She says Phillips leaving during pregnancy looks suspicious. If it was really my brother's baby, why ghost the whole family? Plus, she says both of them cheated, so who even knows whose baby it is? And finally, it's DNA test time. The moment of truth is here.
First of all, it's just too much between the both of them, back and forth. This has been going on for years. And when my brother first told me that she was pregnant and that she did have a child, I thought it was strange that she left and went to Tampa, keeping it away from him, but you're keeping it away from the rest of his family too. Because if it is his daughter, then she's our family too.
You are her father.
That's it.
This part was wild. A man on his deathbed swearing a kid isn't his? Ms. Richardson asked her husband if he wanted to see the child, and he flat out said no. He kept denying it until his last breath, leaving everyone convinced he wasn't the dad.
Your Honor, At my husband's deathbed, I had asked him, did he want to see his child? He said, that's not my child. So he kept telling me all the way until he took his last breath that she was not his child.
And you feel like at that point, if he did feel it was a possibility it was his child, he would have told you?
Yes, Your Honor.
How do you not know a man is married when his whole family does? Ms. Russell says she had no clue until his mom told her after he had already proposed. She swears she was only with him, but things were about to get way messier.
I wasn't told about a wife until I was with the mom one day, and I told her that he had asked me to marry him in a text. She said, I don't know how he gonna ask you to marry him when he already married. He told me that they were separated and that he was waiting on her to pay for a divorce because he couldn't do it.
Lisa.
But that's not what he told me.
And my daughter-in-law, and that's that.
Imagine grieving your husband and finding out he had a secret kid. Ms. Richardson got a letter from her mother-in-law spilling all the tea. She found out about the other woman, the baby, and got sent a picture of the child all at once.
I found out from my mother-in-law. She wrote me a letter and we talked over the phone, and she told me that he had a girlfriend, and she also told me that he had a baby. She sent me a picture of the child. I don't even know what to say really about this because I'm very devastated, I'm upset, I'm over my loss of my husband. I was there when he took his last breath.
She was there the whole time.
The whole thing.
She thought the doctors were playing a prank on her. Ms. Russell went to the hospital for feeling sick, and they told her she was 4 months pregnant. She literally laughed because it was the day before April Fool's, but the joke was on her.
I got up to go to the bathroom one day and I could barely move. I called my mom and asked her to take me to the hospital. My aunt ended up taking me. I get to the hospital, they're like, just so we suspected you pregnant. I start laughing. I thought it was a joke. I'm like, this is the day before April Fool's Day. Why are you playing? I was 4 months and 3 days. I hadn't been with nobody since October.
And then after that time, you ended the relationship.
I left him June 28th.
If you thought he'd be happy, think again. He tried to pay someone to convince her to take an abortion pill. Instead of stepping up, he acted like the baby was a problem to get rid of. Ms. Russell refused and left him while she was 5 months pregnant.
Was he accepting the child? Was he saying?
No, he told me he didn't want the baby. He tried to pay the neighbor to get me to take some type of pill to get me to have an abortion. So I just decided I wasn't gonna do it, and when I had the money, I was gonna leave.
His own niece came in with receipts. He already told her he didn't think the baby was his. While he was away, he admitted he was seeing other women and doubted Eliza was his. And just when you thought this was the proof they needed, another twist came in.
He was down south while his wife was away, and the first thing he said was, niece, I don't think that this baby is mine. I even have somebody else who's coming to visit me while I'm here. So she was never in the picture until the fact that she had the child. Never spoke about her until the fact that he said that there was a possible chance that her daughter, Eliza, was his.
A DNA test was already done before, but it gave no real answer. Ms. Hill, Mr. Richardson's mom, took a test with the child, but it came back inconclusive. This only made them more sure the baby wasn't his.
So you've taken a DNA test prior. You did.
Yes, inconclusive. After my son had passed away, there was a letter came through the mail. It said for child support. I opened it up because my son is dead. So what is this all about? They said, well, ma'am, since he dead, we need a DNA test did on you. When the paperwork came back, it was inconclusive.
Boom.
It has been determined by this court, Ms. Hill and Mr. Richardson Sr. are related to Eliza Richardson.
Thank you,
Thank
John.
you. That's all we want.
That's all we want.
Right away, things get wild. Mr. Green says Mrs. Green cheated all the time, so he's not sure Keegan is even his kid. Mrs. Green says, no, you cheated first.
You claim that the defendant repeatedly cheated on you during your marriage with both men and women. You state you have every reason to doubt that you are 1-year-old Keegan's biological father because of Mrs. Green's sexual track record. And you've petitioned the court for a paternity test. Mrs. Green, you say Mr. Green wasn't ready to be married and that he was the promiscuous one.
Mr. Green says she'd disappear for hours with weird excuses. One time, she said she was going to Burger King, but came back 3 hours later. Bro, what were you doing? Grilling the burgers yourself?
I mean, she used to leave me in the house, like, for numerous amounts of time. Like, she'd tell me she'd going to the store for, like, an hour. She'd be gone for, like, 2 or 3 hours. Like, she just been to her girlfriend's house. To her girlfriend's house can mean really her boyfriend's house, or both. I don't think Burger King at 10 o'clock at night is crowded until, like, 1 in the morning. So this is what made me, like, not want to be with her. And then when I did leave, the first time I did leave, I was going to see my other child.
Mr. Green found a random condom wrapper on the floor and freaked out. Mrs. Green says he was in Atlanta, probably making another baby. Now they're just yelling, you cheated. No, you cheated.
I found the condom wrapper on the floor. Like one time I came home out of town or whatever, I came, it was a
Out
condom
of
wrapper on
town.
the
How
floor.
long were you out of town for? Where were you at when you were out of town?
I was in Atlanta.
Right, in Atlanta, right.
Yeah, I was in Atlanta.
With who?
With my son moms. But we wasn't together.
So what are you talking about then?
But still, what, you found the condom wrapper on the floor, you smutty.
Mrs. Green said she got pregnant right after Mr. Green got back from Atlanta. He's like, how do I know that baby's mine? Their timelines don't match, and the math is not mathing.
He comes back and then you're pregnant. You tell him you're pregnant.
He was back for like a month before I found out I was pregnant. I had not been with anyone during the time that this child was conceived besides
Oh, really?
him.
Somebody wasn't calling your phone?
So you get pregnant through the phone. Anyway, like I said, I hadn't been with anyone during the time that this child was conceived besides him.
Mr. Green's friend says people know Mrs. Green's name for the wrong reasons. Judge Lake is like, gossip isn't proof, dude. Basically, his testimony was just one big rumor sandwich.
Basically, she turned up. They both turned up.
I believe I want you to explain to me in respectful language, if possible, what turned up means. Enlighten me.
No holds barred. Everything is a go, basically.
Sexually.
Everything is a go, yes.
Understood. Multiple partners.
Vegas in the bedroom.
Mrs. Green's friend says Mr. Green left right after the wedding. She says both of them need to stop fighting and be parents. Finally, someone with some sense.
Me and Whitney have been friends for a very long time. When, not too long after they got married, probably about 2, 3, maybe 4 days after they got married, she called me crying and she was like, my husband left. This is 4 days after you get married. When you get married so you don't have to chase people. You've been chasing and running from the beginning.
Mrs. Green cries and says she loved him, but never felt respected. She's just tired of all the drama. Before she can move on, she needs the truth about Keegan.
I've been through so much with him that isn't relevant to this case, even relevant to what's going on right now. When I married this man, he had a child on the way. But I loved him and I wanted to be with him. I had to deal with him going back and forth. And he already had a child too. Like I said, I loved him, so I married him regardless. But I never feel like I was truly ever respected as his wife from day one.
Judge Lake reads the results.
As it relates to 1-year-old Keegan Green, Mr. Green, you are the father.
Now turn up to that. Turn up now.
Whoa, this one starts off super crazy. Mr. Smith left town because he thought the baby wasn't his. Melody's yelling, he's denying, and now they're in court like it's an episode of a soap opera.
Ms. Melody, you and the defendant are separated and living in different states because he says he's not the father of your 9-month-old baby, Savannah. Mr. Smith, you say the plaintiff's continuous lies and infidelities are proof that you are not the father of her daughter and you refuse to move back in.
Mr. Smith said the baby was way too dark to be his, like he thinks babies come out with ID photos. Melody said it was bruising from being born early. He still packed his stuff and said, I'm out.
No. I moved hundreds of miles away because when my baby was born, she came out 5 shades too dark compared to me. I mean, we're both very...
She was 2 months early.
No, we're both very white.
2 months early. I wasn't fully dilated when she came out. She was bruised. He hasn't even seen our kids in months. He's been gone for months.
No, you
he doesn't call, he doesn't help. I'm doing it all by myself.
This man found Craigslist messages and went full detective mode. He even called the guy like, you messing with my girl? Melody says, nah, she was just selling cars.
Okay, Your Honor, I was going through her phone like normal, I believe normal married couples do. They check up on each other's stuff. I mean, I do. But only because there was a history of infidelity.
We're doing a little investigation, going through her phone.
Looking, and I see that she's talking to some guy. So what do? I pick up my cell phone, I call him, and I say, hey, who is this? That's when he tells me, oh, I had an ad on Craigslist looking for a girlfriend.
Melody admits she planned drinks with the Craigslist dude, but says it didn't happen. The judge side-eyed her hard. Mr. Smith looked like he just won a game show.
We were supposed to go out for drinks. We were supposed to meet up. We never actually did.
That's why we're here. You don't come all the way to paternity court to come up in here and tell a lie, because at the end of the day, the DNA is going to show whether you're lying or not. It's an opportunity to just get it out. Tell it like it is.
Mr. Smith showed baby pics like it was a school project. He said the baby didn't look like him and brought up Melody's past boyfriends. Judge Lake was trying hard not to roll her eyes.
Well, she has a history of dating African-American men, Hispanic men, and that's really why when my baby was born, I thought that she's not mine. I mean, you can see here in the pictures, Your Honor, that
You feel like the coloring in her forehead indicates that she's African-American, or do you feel like her skin tone, you feel like is a dark tone?
Her overall skin tone.
Her skin tone.
This guy paid $100 to Melody's ex for old nudes, and the ex just sent the same ones Melody already sent. He paid for a rerun.
She actually sent between 5 and 7 nude pictures of herself to an ex. I went through her phone and I seen she was talking.
We weren't
to him.
together.
I called this guy off my phone and he didn't want to talk to me at all. And you know what? I'm at the point in the relationship where I'm like, you know what? I really want to know what's going on. So I sent him $100 cash for him to tell me, just tell me what's going on with you and my girlfriend.
Mr. Smith says Melody's ex came to town right when the baby was made. He thinks that proves it all. Melody's like, I didn't even see him.
And I just recently found out that right around the time that she sent those pictures to him was when he actually came into town, right around the time she got pregnant.
I haven't seen him in over 2 years.
Are there any other instances that make you doubt?
No, he's just very jealous. He comes up with stuff. I applied for jobs on Craigslist. I went and applied for a job for cleaning.
Smith skipped the baby's birth because he had doubts. Melody was heartbroken, raising babies while he vanished. The court looked ready to explode.
Because there's so much infidelity on her part that, I mean, I'm still young. I've been courting her and the kids for years now.
No.
And for her to just disrespect me like that, go off cheating
I've never
everybody
cheated
that
on
she
him.
wants to.
He's the only one who's ever cheated in our relationship. I've been faithful. Yeah, I talked to somebody. Now we're not together. Now I'm raising my kids on my own. We're married. We're supposed to be together.
Mr. Smith, you are Savannah's father.
No.